So we talk a lot on the channel about ground game. We talk about jiu-jitsu, classical jiu-jitsu. Let's talk about doing submissions from the feet. We don't even have to go to the ground, especially if you guys are learning jiu-jitsu for self-defense, right? You want to be able to finish the fight while standing without having to go on the ground, where maybe you get soccer kicked by one of their buddies, right? You don't want to be doing that when there's a bunch of people around. It's great one-on-one, very questionable with other people around. So we can take a little lesson from Nate Diaz and Fake Paul and talk about how to strangle someone.
Yeah. Big, welcome in there. Oh yeah, Logan.
So, really good concept. Even just, this is supernatural, right? You guys get into some kind of tussle in the street and you're just putting hands on each other and you have a collar tie. Very, very realistic, right? This could happen. So we get into a collar tie, and one way that we can really utilize a collar tie to snap someone down, and when I say snap down, guys, all I need is to get Adam's head to my armpit level. That's all it takes. Doesn't matter if you jumped up there, I don't really recommend it, but all I need is his head to get to armpit level, and we're in for this submission. So when we're doing this, I get a collar tie, I get outside control of the other arm. That's all I need. I just need wrist control on this arm, and then I'm pushing it between his legs. And I'm pushing him, and super predictable, they're gonna push back, right? You're in some kind of wrestling scenario on the street, they're gonna push back, and as soon as they do, you just snap them down, and that causes their head to go too far, and now it's at your armpit level, right? So as soon as it's at your armpit level, my head is on this side right now. I'm gonna take my head to the other side, okay? We're doing a center line shift. If I try to bring my arm really deep here, it's questionable. I don't have enough length in my arms to do that. But if I take my arm here, my shoulder is lower, and now I can get my arm really high. The reason it's important I get my arm high, guys, or my shoulder low and then my wrist really high, is because then my bicep cuts off this side, and my forearm cuts off this side. It's like a noose around his neck. So when I push in with this power guillotine we're gonna go over, I'm pushing my forearm into one carotid, and it's closing that gap and closing off both sides of Adam's neck to put him out very quickly. So when we get here, we get into this collar tie, I push him, he pushes back, and I snap it low, and now I do a center line shift, I get my hand, and I get my knuckles above his trap line, right? Head to the armpit, knuckles above the trap line by bringing my head to the other side. Now I'm just gonna grab my own hand, and I'm gonna push in, and I'm just gonna strangle him right here. I really don't have to do much else. But additionally, what we'd like to do is come really close and close the distance. So I'm gonna come up like this, walking into him, and he can tell you it's very uncomfortable. It's not fun to get drilled. So we get in here, I grab a collar tie, I'm just pushing his leg between his arm between his legs, and now I'm walking, he pushes back a little bit, and I snap him down into my, it's like a football snap. I snap him right down into my armpit. Now I take my head to the other side, I get my wrist really high, I grab my hands, I push in, and I start bringing my hips in. I bring my hips in, and then we just finish like this. Super easy. Adam will just slump to the floor, and you can go on to fight the other 6 guys or whatever. So when we do this, guys, the #1 defense, if this is happening to you in the gym, just in terms of sport and self-defense attached to you, you need to make sure that their hips don't come close. So he puts me in the guillotine, I'm just putting my hands on the hips, and I'm moving and trying to recenter my head. What are the preconditions for a guillotine for him? My head needs to be on one side of his body or the other. If my head is in the middle, very hard for him to guillotine me like this. And honestly, the more that he tries to go, I can start circling around to the back and even take his back, right? I can start elbow passing him and getting around to the back. But we need to keep his hips really far away. Once his hips come high and close to us, we start getting lifted. It's like we're being strung up by a rope. And that's when it's lights out, okay? Let me know if you guys have any comments, questions, anything else. This is Eddie with Crash and Flow BJJ. See you on the mats.